What if I told you that at Andrew and Fergie's wedding, sitting in that third carriage waving to the crowds, were two people who'd been secret lovers for 20 years? No, not the happy couple. I'm talking about the groom's father and the bride's mother. Yes, you heard that right. Prince Philip allegedly had a steamy affair with Sarah Ferguson's mum, and the tea is piping hot. Welcome back to Royal Cookies, where we serve up the juiciest royal gossip with a side of heart-wrenching humanity. Please remember to subscribe and click on the notifications bell icon, so you will be notified whenever we upload new cookies about the British royal family. Right, let's dive straight into this absolute car crash of a revelation, shall we? Royal author Andrew Laurence has just dropped what can only be described as a nuclear bomb on the House of Windsor in his new biography entitled The Rise and Fall of the House of York. And when I say dropped a bomb, I mean he's basically taken a sledgehammer to the royal family's carefully curated image and gone, you know what? Let's make Christmas dinner even more awkward. Because apparently, before Sarah Ferguson became the Duchess of York and subsequently the royal family's favorite tabloid target, her mother Susan Barantes was allegedly getting rather, shall we say, acquainted with Prince Philip. And I don't mean they were just sharing gardening tips. According to Laurence, this alleged affair kicked off in 1966. Let me put that in perspective for you. That's 20 years before Andrew and Fergie's fairy tale wedding turned into the royal equivalent of a reality TV show disaster. Picture this, it's the swinging 60s, the Beatles are topping the charts, England's won the World Cup, and apparently Prince Philip is winning over his future daughter-in-law's mum. Talk about playing the long game. But wait, it gets juicier. The book claims that Susan Barantes turned to Philip because she was exasperated with her husband Major Ronald Ferguson's own infidelities. So basically, it's like a royal version of if you can't beat them, join them, but with your daughter's future father-in-law. I mean, you couldn't write this stuff. Laurence paints this absolutely wild picture of Andrew and Fergie's wedding day. There they are, the happy couple, thinking they're living their best royal fairy tale life, while in the third carriage behind them sit Philip and Susan, described as the father of the groom and mother of the bride, lovers 20 years earlier, sat in the third carriage waving. Can you imagine? The absolute audacity. There's poor Andrew, probably thinking, what a lovely day to marry the woman I love, while his dad and mother-in-law are basically having their own private reunion tour in the carriage behind him. It's like the most dysfunctional family photo in history, except it's broadcast to millions and everyone's waving like nothing happened. The British upper class really do have nerves of absolute steel, don't they? Now, Laurence isn't just throwing around wild accusations like confetti at a royal wedding. This man has done his homework, and the receipts are, well, they're interesting to say the least. First up, we've got Major Ronald Ferguson himself, Susan's first husband, who wrote in his 1994 memoir The Galloping Major, "I always suspected that Prince Philip had an eye for Susie. Certainly, they remain friends to this day." Now, when your own husband is basically saying, "Yeah, I reckon Prince Philip fancied my wife," that's not exactly a ringing endorsement of marital bliss, is it? It's like the world's most understated way of saying, "Houston, we have a problem." But here's where it gets absolutely mental. Laurence claims he heard this story firsthand from sources within royal circles. We're not talking about some random person in a pub making wild claims. These are supposedly well-placed, trusted sources who've been keeping this secret for decades. Now, as you'd expect, not everyone's jumping on the Philip had an affair bandwagon. Former Conservative MP Jacob Rees-Mogg, and yes, he's exactly as posh as he sounds, dismissed the whole thing as just gossip on GB News. Because obviously, when faced with explosive allegations about the royal family, the establishment's first move is always, "Nothing to see here, move along." It's like their default setting is permanent denial mixed with a hefty dose of "how dare you suggest such things." But here's the thing, Lonai isn't backing down. He's standing by his story, stating his sources are well-placed and trusted. And honestly, the man's written this biography without using any qualifiers like rumored or alleged. He's presenting this as fact, which is either incredibly brave or incredibly reckless. Philip himself always denied such rumors throughout his lifetime. But let's be honest, what else was he going to say? "Oh yes, absolutely. I had a decades-long affair with my daughter-in-law's mother. Pass the cucumber sandwiches." Let's just pause for a moment and appreciate the absolute madness of this timeline. Shall we? If these allegations are true, it means that when Andrew first brought Sarah Ferguson home to meet the family, Philip was basically thinking, "Oh brilliant, I know your mum very well. And poor Sarah Ferguson. She's already dealing with being married into the most scrutinized family in Britain, dealing with constant media attention, and now it turns out her mother-in-law's husband might have been her mum's, well, let's call it special friend." It's like the royal family tree isn't just complicated. It's a full-blown psychological thriller. Every family gathering must have been loaded with more subtext than a Shakespeare play. This scandal, if true, perfectly encapsulates everything we suspected about the royal family behind closed doors. They're not the perfect, pristine institution they pretend to be. They're messy, complicated humans with the same dramas as everyone else, just with bigger houses and fancier hats. Think about it. We've got affairs, family secrets, awkward relationships, and enough dysfunction to power a dozen soap operas. It's like Downton Abbey meets EastEnders with a budget that could fund a small country. And the fact that this has allegedly been an open secret in royal circles for decades, that tells us everything about how the establishment operates. If you're obsessed with royal strategy and environmental impact like I am, make sure you're subscribed to Royal Cookies because we're serving up the most sustainable royal content on YouTube. And remember, in a world full of fast fashion and royal scandals, sometimes the most revolutionary thing you can do is wear your values on your sleeve, preferably in a gorgeous shade of green.